we talked about this, having this great interactive environment. We talked about seamlessly calling back and forth between Java and JavaScript. We talked about having a single session, being able to do that, and even getting hot swapping involved so we can see our changes on the fly and actively seeing those changes in a browser. But if you talk to a lot of the JavaScript guys, where they run into a lot of issues all the time is browser portability. Regardless of what libraries you use, regardless of how hard you try it, without being able to see the stuff actively running in the browsers and being able to debug in the browsers, you run into lots of issues. So we said, okay, wouldn't it be great if we'd be able to actually drive more than one browser in this single authoring debug session? And that's basically what we did. So in VJET, you have the ability to basically create a session and be able to attach it to another browser. So let's say you're writing your web application, you're running the stuff in Firefox, and you want to see what it's going to look like in IE. But you don't want to stop your debug session. You want to be able to attach a new browser to exactly what you're doing today. We allow you to do that. Cut and paste the existing URL that you're interacting with in the browser, paste it in the other browser, and say go. At that point there, we will automatically attach that browser session into the single debug authoring session that you have now, and even more cool, any of the changes that you do in one browser, all of those events, all of those interactions are captured, and they're replayed back into the other browser. So now you get syncing not only between the client and the server side, not only in your IDE and your hot swapping, but actually between multiple browsers. And this technology is what's underneath Active, which is basically our virtual browser, our dynamic DOM syncing, our on-the-fly Java to JavaScript translation, all coming together in its ultimate form, which is driving multiple browser experiences from a single authoring and debug session. And it's pretty amazing when you get to see it, because at the end of the day, you're like, wow, this is a great way to test. And yeah, it is. As a matter of fact, it's an awesome way to test. Since we're in the middle of all these interactions between the browsers and your debugging and your authoring tool, what if we actually captured all those interactions? What if we captured those interactions and you were actually able to go and replay it? Wow, this would be a great testing tool. And that's exactly what we did. So you can actually capture your interactions in the VJET authoring session in your multiple browsers, and we will actually generate the JUnit test for it, which includes all the interactions and timing. For instance, like if you dragged something and then you waited a second because of a timer and a timer went off, we capture all the timing. And in cases where you want to run those tests like regressive style, we can actually do it in a headless mode, where you don't actually have the displays coming up, but the virtual browser's running behind the scenes, so that you can really run the tests very, very quickly. And that's great for doing regression. So as kind of like a recap for it, we started down in the basement with like, hey, eBay's got, 30 million lines of Java code. We topped 1 million lines of JavaScript. We really wanted to take the best of what we were doing and learned in Java and bring it over to JavaScript, but we didn't want to just punt there. We wanted to bring the bar up on both sides, share the best of both languages and both environments, include that all the way up into what you do as a daily basis as a developer, and then taking it all the way to being the most productive, most unique, interactive development experience you have for web development today. The name for that's VJET, and hopefully at the Java One you get a chance to see this and talk to some of the rockstar guys that actually built it.